Acá está, le espera la 12. La recta principal. Venga Suárez. Venga Regio. Daniel Suárez se la lleva. Papá, ¿qué te digo? Daniel Suárez ganador. Suárez logra su primera victoria en Cup. Suárez gana en Sonoma. Suárez ganador.
Hey race fans, I should say bienvenidos this time because welcome to Backseat Drivers. 6 years of Spanish and I still...
That's pretty good. I gotta give it to you.
I wish we had some taco piñatas this morning to smash. What an exciting day for Daniel Suarez and the sport. The first Mexican-born driver to win in the NASCAR Cup Series. And here is what his team owner Justin Marks and Daniel had to say following the race at Sonoma.
Daniel Suarez, Travis Mack, helped build Trackhouse, and they've been working so hard together. They've been so focused, so dedicated to try to get into victory lane. The one car winning 2 races this year was tough on them, but they never gave up. They knew that they deserved to be in victory lane. I'm so proud of them and happy for them.
But obviously, knowing that you haven't won yet, there is a little bit of doubt. But I knew that I was fast. I knew that I could race with them, with the guys that are winning. But I haven't showed that first victory. So I told my team, the last 5 weeks we have had very fast race cars, but things happen. It was hard to stay on track, but at the end, my team, everyone stayed together. We keep pushing. I told them that that bad luck doesn't last forever, and tough people do. And we keep working very hard. We kept working very hard, and here we are.
All right, well, Suarez says there was a little bit of doubt before that win, but 2 guys here at the table I have no doubt in, Nate Ryan and our resident analyst, Mamba Smith. I am Alex Weaver, and we're going to get right into it because Team Trackhouse is showing out this season. It's been the storyline of the 2022 race season, but are they a threat to make the championship 4? We're talking both drivers now with Ross Chastain and with Daniel Suarez, both having wins. Ross, obviously a multi-time winner this season. So, Nate, Championship 4, do you have him in there?
I think I do now. And I took a lot of grief for when I was on this show a couple of months ago. I think it was right after Chastain won at Talladega where I said I didn't think he was a Championship 4 pick at that point, and I didn't. But he's continued to run consistently since then, and now to have his teammate Suarez get his first win and really validate where Trackhouse is. We heard Justin Marks just say it, that I think there was maybe a little bit of underlying tension there if one team wins and the other doesn't. They were already working in lockstep, but I think this just builds the culture even more, and I think that they're a first-tier team now.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you? We've talked about this a
lot.
I
know, and it's like I'm still right where I was before, which is I feel really good about track. I think at least one car is gonna be in the round of 8. The final 4 is just so tough. Like you still gotta get through it, and they're so new. They haven't had to do that before. Like this group hasn't had to do that. So I have all the confidence in the world that they're a threat. And luckily that was the question, not are they in? Are they a threat to be in? Yes, they are. But I got them in the round of 8, and now the 99 is up there too. And shout out to Stevie Latara, because Steve said last week, he said, when we were racing at Hendrick and I was with Dale Jr. and everyone else is winning, that's a lot of pressure. And, Justin Marks has validated that comment from Steve. And it is, when your teammates are winning and you're not, that's really tough. So that's a whole nother mountain you got to climb, and they did it.
Nate, just covering Suarez the last couple of years, have you seen the pressure start to get there to him?
I think so. I think we saw a little bit this season. Yeah. I mean, outwardly, we know that he's always this hugely positive, bubbly person. As he said there, tough times don't last, tough people do. And I think he's embodied that throughout his time in NASCAR and in America. But I think we saw it a little bit, especially after Circuit of the Americas when Chastain got his first win, when Suarez might have had the best car. And I think it was wearing on him a little bit. And it's not talked about a lot, but I mean, if Trackhouse is going to be a first-tier team and you've got Chastain there now, and the other slot, you have a driver who hasn't won yet, maybe long-term, Daniel Suarez is a huge part of what Trackhouse is about, but if he doesn't win, I think then questions get raised, and that naturally is going to build pressure on a driver.
Well, guess what, Daniel? You don't have to worry
You
about it.
throw that out the window, homie. You're good.
And next time I'm at a race, I want to sit with Daniel's Amigos because, wow, that was where
They
the
were
party
hype.
was at in
They were
Sonoma.
hype.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. Okay, well, Kim Kuhn, if you're watching, I'm backing you up on this one too because I'm going to stick with it. But does a race-winning team miss the playoffs? We have another spot, another first-time winner for this season. locked up. Mamba takes a sigh. Here we go. I'll start with you.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Basically, we're asking, is there
like,
17 plus winners?
And
Again.
I would love to see it because it would be like, wow, like this is amazing. So many different winners, how competitive the car is. I just don't really see it. Like, I think that teams are going to start getting on their roll because it's getting down to playoff time. So you got to start figuring out what you got and what you don't got, and if you got to change up. So I feel like we're going to start seeing some multi-time winners. The cream is going to rise to the top.
Oh, there it is.
And I'm going to triple dog down on
there
that.
There it is.
That sigh I just heard from Mamba, I feel like I've heard that from Cup drivers who've been asked the same question in recent weeks. I feel like I heard that from Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. I understand where Mamba's coming from and where they're coming from because we haven't seen it yet. And I think it does get a little bit tiring that this gets asked annually. And it hasn't happened. So how can we really be talking about it until it actually happens? But if there's going to be a year that it's going to happen, like the confluence of stuff that's happening in the Cup Series this year with the changing of the guard, the changing of the car, some new tracks, this could be the year. I think my question, Alex, is just, which team, which race-winning team? Is it a vulnerable team?
I don't know yet. That's the problem. When I start looking at the numbers, we don't know. Kim and I kind of circle about 2 more drivers, and then we're like, okay, maybe it was a little aggressive, but it would just, for the storyline, I want to do it for the plot,
Yeah,
like
it helps us. It helps us for having
we're
something to
full
talk about.
sending it.
Look, and I'll give you credit. Like, I think that we'll have like 17 winners throughout the year.
Sure.
But before the playoffs, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, it's just, and now we're starting to go to like similar tracks and.
But we've got 12 winners in 16 races.
Yeah,
and
see?
so I still have like 10 more guys I could pick that don't have wins and say they could win. Just go down the list. Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., I know he hasn't been his normal self.
Tyler Reddick.
Christopher Bell.
Kevin
Harvick. I mean, there's a lot of names still.
It can happen. So now when I ask the rest of the field, because I've asked about 5 or 6 drivers and I get the no. So I want that to change. All right. A team who does not have to worry about hopefully locking into the playoffs with all 4 of their drivers having a W in the win column this season is Hendrick Motorsports. Sonoma, they checked off a huge milestone for the sport, the first team in NASCAR history to cross over the 100,000 miles led. That's insane.
That's a lot.
We know how many wins they have. Rick Hendrick is just setting them on fire. We've known this for years. However, the summer has not been so kind to Hendrick as of late. Their finishes at Sonoma, 8th place for Chase Elliott after a bad pit stop and a tire issue where they couldn't get the tire back on. He gets the penalty for pitting outside of the box. William Byron finished in the 9th place. Kyle Larson was your pole sitter, and he ended up 15th. Alex Bowman, I've just taken it to the house. I don't even know where he finished. Are we concerned with Hendrick Motorsports' recent performance, Nate?
I am not that concerned. By the way, Alex Bowman finished 16th.
Okay.
Thank you, Nate.
I am not that concerned about Hendrick because I feel like it's somewhat calculated, and we've seen this before. I mean, going all the way back to when Jimmy Johnson was winning 7 championships, there would always be that summer lull, and they would build toward the playoffs. And I feel like there could be some calculation again like that for Hendrick Motorsports. But even if you just look at Sonoma, I mean, you just said it, Alex. I mean, pole sitter and Kyle Larson. Obviously, Chase Elliott ran up toward the front until they had the wheel problem. So I'm much more concerned about Joe Gibbs Racing, where Toyota didn't have anybody finish in the top 15 at Sonoma, which is just kind of astounding. And I can't really put my finger on why they were so bad. I'm less worried about where Hendrick is right now.
Yeah. Toyota is an interesting. We're going to touch on that.
Yeah. Okay. So, are we worried about Hendrick? No, because
do we ever worry?
How do you worry about a team that has been dominant for basically my entire life? Like I don't even know what we're talking about. But okay, so you look at Larson. Sat on the pole, was fast, had a pit road issue. Chase Elliott, fast, pit road issue. So those 2 things are execution. That's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
But
hard for them to do.
Yeah, you got to execute, and you do that, and we're probably okay. And they also were, the road course pit stops are just a little different. So, I'll give them some there. William Byron finished in the top 10. You ask William if a top 10 is a win for him at Sonoma, I'm pretty sure he's going to say yes. And then the 48 that you didn't know where he would finish, he was running in the top 10 before Kyle Busch spun out, and then he had to do evasive action. It went back to like 25th or something.
Yeah.
So he came all the way back to 16th. I ain't worried about Hendrick.
Yeah, no, not worried about him for sure. However, we may get a penalty with Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels. Obviously, tire falls off. We know how that ends in the NASCAR Cup Series. So moving forward, I know that we have a week off, and they'll kind of gather their thoughts and get ready for the rest of the regular season. But are we worried about Kyle Larson over the next possibly 4 weeks without Cliff Daniels?
I'm not too worried. Although I will say, I mean, you look at the Coke 600, and you can give Cliff Daniels a ton of credit for how Kyle Larson performed in the second half of that race with that very memorable pep talk. But I do think that the way NASCAR is configured these days and the way teams work, their workflow, I don't know if the crew chief has to be at the track. Obviously, Cliff Daniels can't deliver that speech to Kyle Larson like he could at Charlotte, but you look at Denny Hamlin, he won at Charlotte without Gabehart being there. So it might actually be a little bit of a benefit where Larson now, I think, becomes even more the team leader and has to be a little bit more vocal and is thrust into a position where he has to focus more.
We love Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Daniels is easily one of the best leaders on pit road. There is, I mean, it's like him, Gabehart, Rodney Childers, like those three guys are just like really, really good at what they do and keeping their driver and their team locked in. So they're gonna take a little bit of a hit, but that team is deep. Hendrick's deep. They've been deep. That's why they have so many championships. Is because when things like this happen, someone else, next man up, someone else steps in. So I think it'll be an adjustment. But to Nate's point, I think it's also going to be a good thing for Kyle. He's going to have to be a little different and gain some of that championship pedigree that he has and kind of put that into the bank. So yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mamba. Let's circle back to what Nate brought up with Joe Gibbs Racing and the Toyota specifically.
Oh.
We've talked about the Toyotas a lot this season, but it's been like this.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with the Toyotas that they need to kind of streamline the process?
If I knew that, then I would not be at this desk. I think I'd be over at TRD. I don't know. I'm not really sure. It's like they have a hard time executing a full race. I think that's what it comes down to. Whether it's they're fast enough to win and then they don't, or they get into a tight situation and they just can't finish up. Even at Gateway, you had two Toyotas lined up. You probably couldn't ask for any two better ones with Kyle and Kurt.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure it out to pass the one forward on the inside. Because that Kurt was going to try and do everything he could to get that Toyota in victory lane for Kyle. And they just couldn't figure it out. So I don't know what it is, but I know that they better figure it out because it's about game time here, boys.
Well, Kyle Busch had a typical Kyle Busch day of just hating everything in Sonoma. So, Nate, what do you need to see from the Toyotas?
I think it's just a manufacturer-wide type of thing. I mean, we heard Tony Stewart say it on the broadcast yesterday that there's one manufacturer, and it was Chevrolet, that's just got that advantage right now. So I think that's part of it. I think there are some glimmers for Toyota. The Kurt Busch win certainly was good for them as a little morale boost, but I think they have been on the back foot most of the season. And to your point, Alex, I mean, when Kyle Busch is hating life the way we heard him hate life at Sonoma, and he still isn't signed beyond this season, I mean, I'm sure that just adds another layer of distraction and of chaos. But in the past, sometimes Gibbs thrives on that, and their drivers thrive on that. And we've seen Hamlin thrive on that. So I'm certainly not ready to write them off yet, but I think they just need to sort of just regroup here on this off week and come back stronger.
Let's not forget, too, a couple of things bounced their way, and they have like 5-6 wins as a manufacturer. I mean, Bubba was really fast at Atlanta, was really charging. Talladega, they were the 45 and the 23 were right there. Las Vegas, like the 19 and the 18, and then you look at Gateway, like they were not that far away from multiple wins. They just have not sealed it.
All right, well, here's to sealing the deal for Toyota. Nate also mentioned Kyle Busch involved in silly season talk. Another Toyota driver, Martin Truex Jr. We'll have that on next week's show, so make sure and tune in to all the silly season drama. It's my favorite part to talk about. All right, well, let's just stir the pot. One includes a Toyota driver. I just love doing it. If I had to put my money on one of these drivers for the rest of the season, who would it be? Ross Chastain or the Sonoma watermelon eater, Denny Hamlin. I don't know if you saw the tweet, but there was a watermelon in the hauler. Ross Chastain claims it's not him. Let's see the footage. That's all I'm going to say. Mamba, who are you going with, Chastain or Hamlin? All in.
All in, meaning to win.
All
To
in
win.
for the rest
Like,
of the
okay,
season.
who am I picking to win the championship between those two?
Sure.
I think I gotta go Chastain. Look, I gotta go Chastain. It's mainly because they've been so consistent. And I know DH is on the all-times win list trying to pass Tony. Like, I know, like, I get that. But right now, we've just talked about it, Toyota as a whole hasn't been consistent. Trackhouse has probably been the most consistent team. So if it's just 1-1, which one I'm gonna bet on all for the rest of the season? I'll bet on the one.
Surprising.
I'll rile up the Chastain haters again and say
Oh.
I'll go with Denny Hamlin. I know that like I've been down on Ross Chastain's championship chances here now for a couple of months, but I still think like experience is going to matter. I believe he can make the championship four now. Like I will grant that, and he's a tremendous driver. Obviously, still feeling his way in terms of how he's racing against other Cup veterans. But I still just believe at some point that the championship will come Denny Hamlin's way. I do think he's too good a driver, and I'll probably just pick him against anybody who doesn't have a title until he wins one.
I will say, for most sports, experience in the postseason it tends to rise.
It matters.
So, but we did start this very first episode of Backseat Drivers this season asking if this was the year Denny Hamlin got a championship. It was Steve Letarte in this seat, and all three of us said no. So you rolled with it.
Yeah,
I like it.
no one's turning the tape back on me. I'm sticking to my takes.
All right, rapid response powered by 5 Hour Energy. Let's get into these quick hits. We announced here at NASCAR that the Busch Light Clash, I can finally say it after a year of doing it, thank goodness, is going to return to the LA Coliseum on February 5th to kick off the 2023 season. If you weren't there in 2022, you missed a highlight of the season for me. It was incredible. Southern California, downtown LA, the historic venue, and then you get to see race cars in the middle of it. Come on, give me all that. So we're going to do it again next season. Nate, what are you most excited for the return at the Clash?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on a NASCAR program, but I'm actually looking forward to more slam bang action crashes.
Love it.
I just think year two, they've felt it out in year one. Let's have more yellows.
Yeah.
I think that's what we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, also, we're not going to be worried about how many parts and cars, and we're going to be all that is going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So like, boys, have at it. I'm excited for the show. Like the entertainment value was so high when we were there, and I just got to like sit there and enjoy it. I'm like, man, if you weren't here, like TV doesn't do it justice on how awesome of a show that was. So I'm excited about that, and just being in that California sun. It's not too bad in February. Not mad.
If you're new here, you know that I love, well, I guess you don't know that I love Southern California. So give me all of the SoCal sunshine. When you are watching Cup cars go around in a circle and you look up and there's like the Olympic torch, it's just the
Hollywood
coolest
sign
thing
is in the background.
Ever. Plus I said, what's up to Ice Cube last year, so love it. Give me all of the Busch Light Clash. Okay, and then our second one here for this rapid response, Tyler Reddick. All of us have said that a win is coming. The pressure is now building because Daniel Suarez was another, as we mentioned at the start of the show, a first-time winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Tyler Reddick has yet to check that box of getting the win. Nate, we know that the monkey on the back is heavy when it comes to getting that first win in the Cup Series, and it's hard to do. So is the pressure mounting for Tyler Reddick?
I think it is. I don't think he would admit it publicly, but and the way that team is run, unfortunately, in recent weeks, it feels like they've tailed off a little bit from where they were in the opening couple of races. So, I feel like the pressure is mounting with 4 first-time winners. Now the narrative automatically switches to who's the next guy, and Tyler Reddick is the clear-cut next person who should win their first Cup race, but does it happen this year?
Does it?
It doesn't feel like it right now, sadly, for Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Mamba, the only guys basically left. We have Harrison Burton, who's a rookie, Todd Gilliland, Ty Dillon. I mean, we're getting into the...
Look, I said a few weeks ago I'm going to stop picking Tyler Reddick to win races on the show because I feel like I keep jinxing my man. So that's why I said it's really, I think it's more, I think he's annoyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think at this point it's
That's a good word.
annoying. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's like pressure. It's just like, are you serious? Like like he had a good race going, and again couldn't finish. And then he looks over to see who wins. Yeah, he's buddies with Daniel, and we all love Suarez. But he's like, now I got to answer more of these questions. Like, so I think he's just annoyed, and I feel that pressure. He's a 2-time Xfinity champion. Like he's a champion. He knows how to win races. He knows how to do that. I don't think pressure is really at, but I think the annoyance level is getting pretty high.
Does he win this season?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not going to pick him.
No,
he's
I'm not
doing.
going to pick him. I'm not picking you to
You gotta
win
be
a
careful
race.
with your jinx there, Mom.
Right, I'm not going to pick you to win a race,
Careful
but
with
I'm
reverse
going to pick
jinx.
you to win a race.
All right.
See what I did there?
All right. We do not have any backseat bets this week because we are heading into a nice little vacation off week for the NASCAR Cup Series, but we do have something new and exciting for those that are watching. You can text backseat to 31032 for all of your backseat news, and there's also a matchup looking ahead to Nashville in 2 weeks with Daniel Suarez. That momentum will be high, so make sure and text that number that you see on your screen right now to vote for who you would like to match up next to Daniel Suarez in the 99 next week. But Nate, Mamba, always a pleasure. NBC will take over the coverage when it comes to Nashville in 2 weekends. Nate, give it a thumbs up. He's pumped for that. But the Backseat Drivers will be back here next week. We'll break down the season so far, our superlatives for that. We'll also get into a little silly season, because what is the summer heat without some silly season talk? So make sure and join us right here next Monday. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more clips, highlights, and full-length episodes. Also, check out NASCAR.com to stay up to date with all the latest news.